Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and what do you think of that beautiful church, a Church of Scotland building, absolutely glorious. I think it's from the 16th, 17th century. I'm in the town of Gairloch in the northwest of Scotland. It's a part of the Highlands, of course. Earlier today, I was around the river of Smoo, the Smoo River that goes into the Smoo Cave, and if you ever get a chance to see it, it's a stunning sight because you get this beautiful cave waterfall, and I mean, it was just absolutely lovely. It's just right near Durness, and I couldn't recommend it more highly. It's just absolutely beautiful. But of course, as always, my heart is back with you in the States. And what can I say? We thought we'd never see this day come. But America did just witness the first mass arrests of domestic terrorists. And George Soros broke his silence with a panicked statement that changes absolutely everything. So here we go. Okay, I think in many ways, September 25th, 2025 will go down in history as the day accountability finally arrived in America for what President Trump has called the radical leftist terrorists. So while millions of Americans were sleeping, federal agents were on the move, and the deep state's worst nightmare just became a reality. So if you don't know what's going on, President Trump is right now, as we speak, cracking down on Antifa. After years of chaos, destruction, and violence in our cities, President Trump finally designated Antifa as a domestic terror organization. So yesterday in Eugene, Oregon, federal officers arrested multiple Antifa militants who were surrounding an ICE facility. And I need not tell you, these guys weren't protesters. I mean, they were throwing objects at federal agents. They were vandalizing property. They were attempting to terrorize law enforcement officers who were just enforcing the law. Now, of course, this crackdown is coming just one day after that Dallas ICE shooting that killed one detainee and wounded two others. We now know that the shooter, Joshua John, left behind notes explicitly stating that he wanted to terrorize ICE employees and maximize lethality against federal agents. He even inscribed anti-ICE insignia on his bullet casings. We now know that he used ICE tracking apps, the very apps that the legacy media was touting, claiming that this was helping illegal aliens avoid ICE agents by tracking the ICE agents' movements. And of course, the legacy media was torched for pushing this nonsense, seemingly oblivious to the fact that such an app could be used by nefarious actors to target ICE agents. Well, it just happened. And as we can see, the Trump administration wasted no time in cracking down on Antifa. Federal law enforcement arrested them en masse. And here's what makes this historic. For the first time ever, these criminals are being charged as terrorists, not for simple assault or vandalism. When you're charged as a terrorist, the government's tactics expand dramatically. The gloves come off. Because now it's not just them. Anyone who in any way associates with them is automatically implicated in their acts of terror. So we're talking landlords. We're talking banks. We're talking schools, you name it. This is the power of designating an organization a terrorist organization. It basically exiles them from the whole of society. And that isolation then serves as the stage to prosecute the members of the organization and eventually eradicate the organization because it simply no longer has any more social support, especially financial support. And lo and behold, what do we see coming this morning? We see George Soros' Open Societies Foundation releasing a desperate statement claiming they unequivocally condemn terrorism. They got nothing to do with any terrorist acts. And they're calling Trump's threat to charge Soros with racketeering politically motivated attacks. But you'll note timing is everything here, right? And so the question is, why release this statement today? Well, sources suggest that Soros may have already been served with subpoenas demanding documents and bank statements. So President Trump announced just last week that Soros and his network would indeed be investigated under RICO laws for funding, training, and radicalizing young Americans. But there's something absolutely key with RICO charges that suggests something else is happening here, something very much tied with this new terrorist designation. And it shows exactly what President Trump is doing here, whether it's with the Comey indictment that just came out, threatening RICO charges on Soros, or the terrorist organization designation for Antifa. We're now seeing the next phase in the Trump administration's dismantling of the deep state. We're going to see precisely how this is the most astonishing phase of them all. Hey gang, quick question. Do you miss my short videos? You know, the fast hits, the bold truths in under 60 seconds? Well, I've heard from so many of you who love those clips. I'm bringing them back in a big way. I just launched a brand new channel called Turley Clips. It's all short form every day. I'm posting powerful, shareable, hope-filled truth bombs that will fire you up and shake the system. So if you've been craving those quick hits of sanity, you need to be on this channel. Subscribe to Turley Clips right now. Send it to friends and family as well. Please share it abroad, and I can't wait to see you there. How do you like these views, gang? It's getting to the end of the day here, but they are, you see the sunset. The views are absolutely breathtaking in the highlands. So the key with RICO charges is that you don't actually have to go all the way to trial for the catastrophic consequences of RICO charges to take effect. One of RICO's most powerful features is the ability to freeze assets before trial. And the key here is that that prevents the targeted organizations from moving assets offshore or liquidating their holdings in any kind of way. So this is one of the reasons why I can assure you that Soros is absolutely freaking out right now. The very fact that he would even be subject to RICO charges is enough to basically bankrupt his entire organization. And the psychological impact of that cannot be overstated. Oftentimes, just the very threat of a RICO indictment is enough to force defendants to plead guilty to lesser charges, in part because the seizure of assets would be absolutely fatal to the organization. So in threatening Soros with RICO charges, Trump is playing some serious hardball here. Bottom line, the combination of terrorist organization designations and RICO prosecutions represents the apex of federal power to dismantle organizations. I mean, these tools provide the government with the ability to freeze assets instantly, criminalize association, create vast networks of liability, and coordinate international enforcement efforts. For any organization facing these designations, the legal reality is stark. They face immediate financial paralysis. They face the criminalization of support from allies. And they face potential liability that extends to anyone that assists them. The government's power in these areas is so comprehensive that the mere threat of a terrorist designation often proves sufficient to achieve the desired outcome. So I think Trump is going to crush Antifa. He's not going to show them any mercy whatsoever. And I think he's going to bring Soros and perhaps even the Ford Foundation, other billionaire funding sources for the Democrats, he's going to bring them to heel. I mean, the very threat of RICO charges, given that their bank accounts can be seized, is enough to get them to comply entirely with Trump's demands. What's absolutely essential for us to get here is that phase one of the dismantling of the deep state, what we saw with Doge and the elimination of USAID, phase one involved debanking the deep state. It involved eliminating the sources of funds that kept the deep state going. Phase two involved reawakening the constitutional power of the presidency, according to Article 2, to fire all the deep state actors, which Trump has been doing, thanks largely to the Supreme Court, and they're delivering decisions that are restoring that power. The third phase is now happening, and that's the indictment phase. And this phase, as you can see, the nature of terrorism designations and RICO charges, this phase is using tools designed to deliberately dismantle and destroy organizations. That is precisely what Trump is doing right now as we speak. He is dismantling and destroying the basic structural framework of the far left. And he's been absolutely systematic in how he's been doing it. So sit back, butter the popcorn, and enjoy watching the end of the liberal left, because this is precisely what President Trump is doing. And he's getting a little help from the Democrats as well. That's what I did my earlier video today on John Fetterman. It's only a matter of time before he leaves the Democrats. You'll definitely want to check out that video. But the Democrats themselves are imploding by their own doubling down on their own insanity. So Trump is dismantling the left, all as the Democrats end up decaying and decomposing as a viable political party. As I said, butter the popcorn. This is about to get really good. Love you guys. God bless.